All I can say, I was a dumbass, voted for Trump only because of my beliefs. People around me encouraged it. I can think for myself, yes. But I felt at the time that was the better choice. Now I'm looking at it with everything going on. It was the worst decision I ever made.
Frank, who did you vote for president?
Mr. Trump.
Right?
Trump.
Mr. Trump.
If the election were today, Frank, would you vote for Donald Trump?
No way.
Couldn't happen.
No.
My aunt is a cancer survivor. She's going to lose her Medicaid. This is exactly what she voted for.
Uh-oh, the honeymoon seems to be over. A lot of voters are out here admitting that they made a mistake voting for Donald Trump. Let's talk about it on the This Bahamian Gal podcast. It starts now.
Love me or hate me, God knows you made it when he let his eyes on me. Yucky, ninny, 내 바라보는 눈빛이 이미 다 말해줘. No, I ain't gonna let anyone keep me down.
I just love that theme song. I just love it so much. Hey guys, welcome back to the This Bahamian Gal podcast. My name is Rogan. I'm happy that you all are joining me. Thank you so much to all of my new listeners. Let's just get right into today's episode. So the list of Trump supporters who are stepping forth to say that they regret voting for him is growing longer every single day. Donald Trump hasn't been in office for a month yet, and so far, he's managed to turn off farmers, Black MAGA supporters, immigrants, Latinos, even MMA fighters. Many of his diehard supporters say that they now wish that they hadn't supported him at all.
I wanted not to vote. But people said you won't be able to have a say in anything if you don't vote. I totally regret this. I shouldn't have voted at all. You know, for now, me and my wife can afford things. And I know prices are going to go double on everything, if not triple. And we're still okay, I think, but what about the people that don't have the money?
Now, a lot of people have been making fun of Trump supporters. We've seen this in the media, social media, even in the Democratic Party. They're calling it FAFO. I think you all have seen that a million times by now. You know what it means. It means F around and you find out. A lot of folks have said, we warned you. We told you that this was going to happen, especially on the farmers' side, because they've been through this before in 2020 with Donald Trump. So this should have come as no surprise. But I respect the fact that the individuals who did vote for him can say, listen, I made a mistake. A lot of people will not admit that. I feel there are Republicans and there are other people who voted for Donald Trump who would never come to the fore and say, you know what, I wanted him in there. But now I'm seeing how he's acting and I see how his administration is performing, not even a month in, and I don't like it. And I've said a million times on this platform that you are free to love Donald Trump, to want to support him, but you can also call him out when he's doing crap. You can also say that I don't like the way that he's performing in office. I voted for him. I wanted him to win. But I feel like people are so aligned to their party and so in love with this man that they can't call him out. Now, let me say, I've seen people even in my comment section saying, hey, I'm a Trump supporter, but I don't like that he did X, Y, Z. And I really do respect those people. And I don't judge anybody for how they voted. I really don't. I know a lot of Democrats are self-soothing and they feel a sense of pride to be able to say, oh, you FAFO, because they're still upset that their candidate lost. But the reason why Donald Trump is in office is because a lot of people were still upset with the Biden administration and subsequently his successor, Kamala Harris. They didn't feel like she was a strong candidate. I've said that here on this platform as well. So I think a lot of them are to blame as well, because if they had presented a candidate that they felt was super strong, who could go up against Donald Trump, one who didn't say on The View, for example, that they didn't see anything different that they would have done from what their predecessor would have done, I think people would have been open to possibly voting for the Democrats again. But that border issue was a big issue. The economy was a big issue for a lot of people. And so you can't blame people for voting how they voted. But you also had the knowledge of knowing, because he had served before, how Donald Trump performed in office. So I appreciated the fact that people were at least willing to say, yep, I messed up. And of course, individuals are going to take the time to poke fun at that. But that's just the way life goes. I think a lot of people will support him to their detriment.
Let's look at what has happened over the past 3 weeks. Donald Trump pardoned more than 1,500
criminals from January 6th, including hundreds who were convicted of assaulting police officers. So much for backing the blue. He tried to freeze all federal funding, SNAP benefits, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, tax refund checks, you name it. He illegally fired senior officials and inspectors general, and even the director of the Office of Government Ethics, because they might, God forbid, provide accountability to the convicted felon in the White House. And the president has given an unelected billionaire total access to the inner workings of every executive branch agency. And he is freely terminating government contracts and government officials. Now, whether you agree or not with whatever Donald Trump and Elon Musk are doing, it is a breathtaking and unprecedented usurpation of government power. And I want to introduce, by unanimous consent, an article in the New York Times from yesterday that talks about the 32 ongoing investigations into Elon Musk and his companies. This article outlines how Trump and Musk have fired officials in 11 federal agencies that are leading investigations or enforcement matters or lawsuits pending against Elon Musk. Now, all the investigations have stalled. Lucky Mr. Musk. Can't be the conflict of interest.
Not objection.
I think a lot of people who voted for him probably aren't impacted by a lot of the decisions that he and his administration are making. But if he makes a decision that impacts you directly, be it with your health care or the economy or your farm, agriculture, for a lot of these farmers, that industry, I think that's when you will see people stepping up and saying, oh, hold on now. And some people just don't care. That's their guy and they'll support him no matter what. Maybe you and your family are doing great. You're not impacted. So why should I care about anybody else? And I think that's why we're in the position that we're in today, because people did not consider the fact that somebody else would be impacted. What I see a lot of online too is people pretending that things were so great a few months ago before Donald Trump and his team took the reins, because they weren't. And if they were, if everything was so good, I don't understand. I mean, of course, Trump would have had his supporters. He had his supporters from the first time he ran and the second time he ran. So he would have naturally had his supporters a third time. But I don't think it would have been as big of a blowout if the Democrats had a candidate who was like, listen, I love Joe Biden. I respect the gentleman, but he did some things that I totally disagreed with, and we need new leadership, and I'm that person to fill that slot. You know what I mean? If we had a different type of leader. So I think that the Democrats also bear some responsibility for Donald Trump being in office. They're happy to kind of chuckle and point the finger and say, ha ha, that's what you get. But the reality is, they're not the only ones who are going to be suffering. Everybody, even people who did not vote for Donald Trump, any policy that he and his administration enact, we're all going to be touched in some way, shape, or form. So it's cute and funny to laugh online, but when you stop and think about it, are you going to be exempt from these policies? I think people are starting to find out that no one and nothing is immune to Trump's actions and his policies. And so when it starts to hit them in their pockets, or it hits them with their medical care, that's when they're going to understand even more. And I think more and more people are waking up.
Did people think that they were personally exempt from his abhorrent policies? Like, he could take away Medicaid from someone, but not from you? Hello?
I think it's entirely possible to say, I don't regret my vote, but I regret the things that he is doing. I don't know why people feel like they have to be so beholden to this man. I don't. That they can't say what he does wrong. I challenged some people in my comment section a few weeks ago when someone said, oh, I don't know why you always attacking Trump. And I'm like, are you new to this channel? I used to get attacked by liberals all the time on this platform for months when I was critical of Kamala Harris, or I was critical of Obama when he went and spoke to black people in a very condescending way. And I said that at the time, oh, I was the golden girl. And I used to say back then, listen, don't love me too much. Don't love me too much, because when Trump takes the reins, and I think I said this in a video, when Trump takes the reins, if he messes up, I'm going to call him out for that. Oh, yeah. It's like they didn't hear that. But then now when I'm being critical of the things he deserves to be critical of, people are upset and thinking, oh, you must be on that side. Well, you know what? It's a good thing. If the Democrats are accusing me of being MAGA and MAGA is accusing me of being Democrats, then I'm right in the right position I need to be in. But the reality is, people need to be able to call out this foolishness on either side. And I've said that a million times, and I'm never going to stop saying that. And no matter how many times MAGA tries to bully or get upset or unsubscribe or whatever it is that they do in the moment because they're mad, it's not going to stop my speaking out about these things. It's never going to stop me, because the reality is someone needs to call it as it is. I watch everyone. And I've said on this platform 1,000 times, if you've been here, that I think everybody would benefit from watching the other side, right? So if you have Democrats, why don't you watch Fox News for a while, or read the New York Post, or just read conservative or watch conservative TV. And if you are conservative, why don't you watch some liberal television or read some liberal newspapers so you can hear the other side? But people don't care to do that. They don't. They want to stay in their silos because that is where it's comfortable. But then how are you going to learn anything? How are you going to be exposed to anything if all you're hearing is your side? I watch everyone. And I can tell you, a lot of these conservatives who were pushing for Donald Trump, now some of them still are giving him his props. I'm not going to lie. But a lot of them are very quiet on the things that he's doing that is impacting America. They are radio silent. You don't hear anything. And it's like, I would take you much more seriously if you were able to say, listen, I went hard in the paint for this guy, but he's messing up over here. But that's what happens. And I was talking to a friend of mine who's also a YouTuber, and I said, that's what happens when you build your house on one type of brick. So they've used this one brick, this Republican brick, and it happens on the Democrat side. They've built their house on just Democratic brick. And so if they say anything to the contrary, everything falls apart. Everybody leaves their channel. I heard Candace Owens a few weeks ago taking issue with Donald Trump's decision or his announcement that they were going to take control of the Gaza Strip and turn it into some sort of rival for the French Riviera or whatever. And I think that was probably the first time I had heard her. And she says she's spoken out against Trump before. She's not so beholden to him. So I'll take her word for it. But it was actually refreshing. And it came like towards the end of a very long program. But nonetheless, it was very refreshing to hear her being critical of Donald Trump in that moment, and more so Benjamin Netanyahu, because I'm just like, everybody is just quiet. Why are people not speaking out to say, I love the guy, but he's wrong? So my question for MAGA supporters and Donald Trump supporters is, are you prepared to ride this car until the wheels fall off? Even if it goes against your own personal interests, even if it goes against your own family's interests, are you prepared to do that? And here's another question. Now that we're almost a month in, is Trump as good for America as you thought he would be? Like, honestly, I'm asking you, like, what is your cutting off point? Because it seems for some people that there is no cutting off point. Like, what would he have to do to lose your support? For a lot of people, it just had to hit them in their pockets really quickly, and then the support vanished. But what would he have to do for those of you who are like really beholden to Donald Trump? What would he have to do to lose your support? Thanks for listening to the This Bahamian Gal podcast. Don't forget to rate the show and leave us a review. And be sure to follow me on YouTube and Instagram at This Bahamian Gal. Also, we want to hear what you have to say, so weigh in on the conversation by emailing us at beourguest@thisbahamiangal.com. That's beourguest@thisbahamiangal.com. Or by going to our blog, thisbahamiangal.com, and leaving us a voice message. Yes, if you're on desktop, you'll see the leave a voicemail button on the right of the screen. If you're on your smartphone, which I'm sure a lot of you are, you'll see it at the bottom of the screen. We cannot wait to hear what you have to say. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.